Okay, so it should be working now, hopefully.
Take 2.
If you can see me, let us know if you could see us or not. What are they saying, Karen?
Yeah, there's an ad here. Hold on.
Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to go right to the next question. How about that? Hey, Veronica, are you there? Veronica? Veronica?
Yes, sir.
Are you there, Veronica?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So what's your question, Veronica?
My question was the number of calories that they have to take in on the intermittent fasting.
Yeah, right. Have you been told that you have to restrict your calories on past diets?
Correct.
Yeah. And have you started keto yet?
Well, I have been doing the on and off. I've been doing like fasting and on and in the OMED on and off.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you what you should do. When you do intermittent fasting, you're naturally going to reduce the amount of calories because it's impossible to eat the same calories because you're only having like 1 or 2 meals. So, but you don't have to worry about that. I think the best way to approach this, Veronica, is to make sure that you're going based on your feeling satisfied. There's a point where your body will say, okay, you're done eating, stop eating. And I would go by that more than any other indicator of like having to eat this many calories. But no, you don't have to reduce your calories when you're on keto and IF because that reduces the nutrients. But you do have to reduce your carbohydrate calories, and that's what I would focus on if I were you. Okay?
YouTube's
All right,
free
thanks.
too.
Thanks, Veronica. Well, Facebook is working, isn't it?
Everybody's.
I tell you what, folks, we apologize for the technical issues. If you can go to drberg.com and pick up the YouTube feed, it's working now. Unfortunately, our Facebook is in the weeds.
Well, that's Facebook, right?
Yeah, this is YouTube.
So YouTube is working?
No.
So Steve, YouTube is not working, but Facebook is working. Did you get it backwards?
Oh my, no, I don't think so. Now I see that poor old YouTube has frozen again. Well,
well, it's working now. Look at.
wow.
It works for
It works
moment.
now.
Hey, can you guys let us know if you can hear us?
Yeah. Can you? It seems
YouTube
to be working.
is working.
It seems to be
yes,
working.
it is. Okay.
Okay,
Hooray.
thank you.
For YouTube.
Working.
All right. So tell you what, guys, we're going to go right to
Okay.
the next caller from New York, from K-Seal. Are you there?
Yes.
Hi. How are
Dr.
you?
Berg.
Great. Thanks. What's your question?
Doing good.
Good.
Okay, so Dr. Berg has become a household item for the past year or so. We have read through your book, me and my wife, and of course watched a bunch of videos, and made a lot of changes in the diet. You know, intermittent fasting, and even we had a point that we have kale shakes almost every single day.
Wow.
And weight wasn't our issue, but we have seen a lot of good results in terms of health and other things. The question today is, I personally had an issue with an excessive oily skin, oily hair, oily skin, which end up being sometimes acne on the face and also on my upper back.
Yeah.
And I understand from the book, based on the book, that I am liver type.
Mm-hmm.
And interesting enough that my wife, which based on the book is an ovarian type, also seems to have this issue, not so excessively the way I have it. And I'm around, I would say, 31 years old, and I think for the past 10 or 11 years, I have been having this issue.
Okay.
And I haven't seen any changes even through the past year.
Okay, I have a good question. I have an answer for you. I have a possible solution. So get your pen out. And this is what you should do. What he's talking about is an overactive sebaceous gland, Karen.
Well, all right.
And that is the oil gland that produces sebum. And basically what you need to do is you need to alter a couple things. There's a couple things that will make more oil than necessary. One is basically higher levels of androgen, which could come from glucose, but you cleaned it up, so that should clear it up. So the next thing that I would look at is a zinc deficiency. If you're deficient in zinc, that gland will produce more oil than it needs to be. It could also be one of the B vitamins, but that's rare, but it can be. The other thing that you can look at is vitamin A. Vitamin A helps to control different things with the skin, and so especially even the oil and the dryness. So you can adjust either vitamin A, and what you can do to kill two birds with one stone, you can take cod liver oil. That seems to make the skin really nice and regulated. But in your case, if that doesn't work, there could be something going on with the liver, in which case you need to focus on that, because I do know that if the liver is off, that alone could affect the absorption of those vitamins. So regardless of how many you take, it doesn't seem to work. So go with that, and then touch base and let us know how you do. Karen, where are people watching from?
Well, it's a little challenging because we're hanging up here. I think YouTube is working now mostly. People are from Canada, South Africa, Bulgaria. I don't know that we've had anyone from Bulgaria before.
Not in the recent couple days.
The UK, Vietnam, Trinidad, Tobago, Romania, Spain, Netherlands, Amsterdam, Mexico. Wait, no one from the U.S.? Is there?
No.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Just
that's
kidding.
That's very
Just
awesome.
kidding.
And
Finland, the country of Michigan, the country of Texas, Turkey, Mexico, Morocco, India, Israel. Wow.
All over the place.
All Syria, Estonia,
Wow.
another person from Bulgaria, Pakistan. That's crazy.
And then you have a question?
Yeah. Ireland.
Okay.
I'll keep calling them out. Okay, good. So here's a question. How much protein should someone with scarring alopecia consume? Now, you probably want to tell people what is scarring alopecia, since...
Well, there's various types of alopecia, which is basically hair loss, and it's an autoimmune condition where you're actually getting patches of hair that are falling off your head. So how much protein should you consume? I would stick with the normal 3 to 6 ounces, and if you're a bigger person or more active, have a little bit more. I think that's not going to be the big thing. The most important thing is to do the intermittent fasting, and of course keep your carbs low, because intermittent fasting is going to greatly stimulate all sorts of amazing things with your immune system, especially if you do periodic prolonged fasting for 48 hours, maybe once a week, because that's going to help your stem cell with your immune system and drop inflammation. The other thing you could do, Karen, and I'm going to do a video on this, is rub raw onion on your scalp.
Not on my scalp.
Well, you know, if you had alopecia, you might want to try it. Because you're dealing with, onion has some unique properties that helps, that condition. Number one, it's very high in antioxidants. So it's right there, it's going to help you. It has properties that will decrease something called DHT, which is a very powerful form of testosterone in the scalp. So you rub some raw onion on your scalp every day. There's an interesting study that shows even within 4 weeks, 70, I think it's close to 70 or 80% of men got hair growth, and about 71% of women got their hair growing back.
Wow.
So a little tip on this onion. Onion can help in many different things, but especially if you have alopecia.
Any onion in particular?
Any onion will do. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they don't
Well, we're
vary
gonna-
that much in properties, but
I think everybody that wants hair growth should try that. And then Steve, and then you should let us know how that works.
yeah. And then the only thing that we need from you is a video of you doing that in public.
A video
send
of
it-
Lori throwing me out of the house.
Right. Yeah. So, no, don't do this in public. Do it in private, and don't mention my name.
Dr.
What are you
Berg.
doing? Rubbing your onion? Oh yeah,
Dr.
Dr. Berg
Berg
told
said to
me.
rub
Instant
onion.
credibility wrecker. So yeah, don't mention my name with that. But it does work, and I'm going to do a video on it, and I think you'll be happy, despite how weird you might look.
And despite how you may smell. You didn't bring that up.
Listen, you keep certain people away. It's not garlic. Listen, we need to go to Ruth. Ruth, you changed your question, thank you. And you have a new question or an update on hot flashes. Go ahead.
Yes,
Ruth.
I do.
Great.
I think the last time that I called in, we were talking about my hot flashes, and I've called a couple of times regarding my hot flashes.
Yeah.
And I literally drink 10 cups of salad every day. So it means 10 little handfuls or half of the container of salad. I mix it with celery and bell pepper and cucumber, water, lemon, your electrolyte powder, and I blend it all up and I drink that every day. And I feel great with it, but I kind of felt like I was getting maybe too much vitamins. I don't know if that's actually possible. But when I stopped taking the nutritional yeast and started taking the vitamin E that you recommended, the hot flashes went away. And
Okay.
I also cut back on the adrenal fatigue or the adrenal support that I was taking as well. And I was taking 2 of those a couple of times a day sometimes because I felt really stressed. But since I hadn't felt as stressed recently, I went ahead and cut back on that too. So unfortunately, I did so many things at the same time, I wasn't exactly sure
We don't know.
what the fix was. But I have no more hot flashes, which
That
is
is
wonderful.
fantastic.
And then I know. And then the L-glutamine that you said in your last video about the muscle aches.
Yeah.
I used to go bike riding, and then if I went too far, I would get this flu, which is a low-grade temperature, and my muscles would hurt.
Yeah.
But I took the L-glutamine, and it worked. So,
Fantastic,
yay,
Ruth.
Dr.
That's great.
Berg.
Hey, for those of you that are watching, I did a video on people that get sick if they overexercise or even exercise in general, because it taxes the immune system. L-glutamine just fixes that problem because it supports the white blood cell, and it can really help you resist that stress. The other thing is vitamin E is really good for hot flashes. There is a technique, I used to do this in my practice. Some people won't even believe it unless you do it on yourself. But if you have a hot flash and you do acupressure on the points, on the adrenal points, and you can watch the video that I did on this, do a search on YouTube. It's called the Stress Webinar. And you start doing acupressure points right on the adrenal points while you have a hot flash. Let me know how you do, because it seems to just turn it off like a switch, and it's a great little technique, and it's quite dramatic. I just wish I would have had that on video, because I used to do that all the time. It's quite amazing. Thanks, Ruth. And April, you had a question on keto tips for a new vegan. Was that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Good morning, Dr.
Good
Berg
morning.
and Karen.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I've been following you for about 2.5 years, and I started out keto and intermittent fasting, and I became a vegan recently. And I'm doing well. I feel great. However, I'm just concerned, am I going to become fat adapted? And I haven't tested whether I'm in ketosis with my plan yet, but the goal is I feel better being a vegan.
Okay. Good for you.
So, do you have any tips
Yeah, I think it's
for
there's a
yes.
couple tips. Number one, you have to, make sure you take the key nutrients, the B12, DHA, zinc, things like that. But it is more difficult because try to find a low carbohydrate, moderate protein, higher fat, because usually there's just a lot of carbs that creep up. So that's really the hard part. You may want to Lentine. I actually have this. It's my veggie solution. It is basically the highest plant-based protein source. Lentine. It's called the veggie solution. It's pretty interesting, and real clean, virtually raw. It's way better quality than soy, and we are going to be coming out with a kind of a isolate of that, just as a protein itself. It's pretty complete. But that's what I would do, and then you could probably get your DHA from algae as well. But then that will give you the protein. Just be careful about any type of fruits or any type of other hidden carbs that you may run into. And I'm assuming you're probably not going to go down the grain route. I would avoid grains just because that you get into trouble with that. But thanks for your call. And now, Karen, do you have a question?
Yes, lots.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
What's going on over here? Here's a question. Can you ferment kale? Will it keep all of its nutrients?
It actually enhances the nutrients when you ferment kale. It enhances it because it starts to add additional, it releases a lot of the phytonutrients, and it gets rid of the anti-nutrients. And that's one thing that you can do for other vegetables as well. And that way you don't have higher levels of the things that can come back to bite you. So you can bite them without getting bit back. Because the plants can't run away. They have to defend themselves, so they have these anti-nutrient type things. And they leave you with these oxalates and poison ivy, but we won't talk about that. I just want to see if I can make you laugh.
Take a call. I got one question. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I had 3 people so far ask me about moringa. What is it?
It is a tree in Africa that I think it's grown in other places too, but I'm not 100% sure. But it does have some of the highest nutrients. I mean, like if you compare it to other products, there's like way more calcium and more vitamin C.
And how do you consume it? Powder?
Yeah, in a powder form, unless you want to eat the leaves. You grow the tree and eat the leaves. But it's great. It's great. That's all I have to say about it. I mean, I tested it out of myself. I wasn't like blown away. I was like, okay, this is cool. I think the key is if you're going to get some of it, make sure that you get something that's like a freeze-dried versus just like a regular powder that is cooked and heated, just because the heat destroys the enzymes.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. What's the next question?
And the next question is, have you seen calcium scores go up with a lot of olive oil or coconut oil or peanut butter?
You mean go down?
No,
with the calcium
it says
scoring?
up.
Okay. So there's a calcium score in the coronoid. I'm sorry, not the coronoid. The coronary artery in the heart, and you test the calcium in there. You're making fun of me. Are you laughing with me or laughing?
Smiling. I'm
Okay,
just
so
smiling loudly.
the score, you want that 0. So you don't want calcium in your arteries, Karen.
So did you hear the question?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I'm assuming that you mean going down, the scoring go down. Yes, I have got reports back from people who did vitamin K2, clean up their diet, improve their calcium score.
The question was about it going up with olive oil or coconut oil or peanut butter.
I have not evaluated that at all. 0 information on that. Can't help you on that, Karen.
Trouble getting our groove on here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you take a call then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to California, and you had a question. Is it Aster?
Yes.
Hi. You had a question. Go ahead.
I'm from Oklahoma, actually, if you're talking to me. I'm not from California.
Oh, wow. You're from... Okay, good. So I guess our producer had that mixed up. That's fine. I'll take full responsibility.
Yes. No problem, sir. No, my name is Esther, and I'm a registered dietitian, and I have been having inflammation since 2002. Nobody seems to figure it out. Nobody seems to know why.
Okay.
And I am on tons of supplements, most of them plant-based. And on August 12th, I started your keto on steroids. And recently, I started reading Dr. Fung's book, A Complete Guide to Intermittent Fasting.
Yeah.
And I am doing his 42-hour fasting protocol.
Yeah.
And instead of eating 2 meals a day, I merged it with your 1 meal a day.
Okay.
My first meal is at 3 p.m. An hour later, I eat my last meal. And instead of 42 hours, I make it 48 hours.
Got it. And what's your question?
Since August 12th, I have lost 25 pounds. So I still have pain. I'm still bone on my shoulder, on my knees, despite the fact I'm taking tons of supplements.
Yeah.
I don't take any medication.
Okay.
I don't know what to do, Dr. Fung.
Okay, so here's a couple points. There is a situation where diet is not part of that cause. It's not causing the problem. There's actually, bone on bone, it's going to irritate the nerve. So there is a point that there's other causes to pain, especially if it's like in different places. Now, what you could do, and I would recommend this, I would watch some of the videos that I did on do-it-yourself type pain type management with the shoulders. I think that could be help you greatly. But that being said, I'm going to also recommend another thing that I really, really like. It's stinging nettle root extract, not stinging nettle leaf extract. Get the root, get in an extract, and that really, really helps. Now, if your inflammation is still going on into the 40 hours, then chances are I think that it's either you're going to have to go to an ortho doc and get that evaluated and dealt with. Or it could be that the vegetables that you're consuming, especially spinach, are high in oxalates, which that alone can tear you up and create a lot of pain. So don't want to rule out some of these vegetables that could be irritating you. It's not common, but for some people it can be an issue. But I found if you had just regular lettuce, that seems to be okay. But good question. All right, Karen. What do you got? What do you got over there? Anything?
What is ferritin?
That is iron.
So, right. So what would you do for high levels other than bloodletting?
I would do bloodletting, and I would. Iron is very, very toxic. So you're going to have to, first of all, avoid the sources like the iron skillets, iron supplements. I think that I would recommend doing. It's called EDTA. It's a chelator, a natural chelator, and also start drinking distilled water just to kind of pull some of this iron out. But it's because it could be very toxic. I actually have done several videos on this. They can watch that, but that's what I would recommend.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or anything else?
Yeah. Here's one.
Go ahead.
Dr. Bergensen.
Yes.
What? Oh wait, this is my favorite question too. It keeps jumping. What is the best way to handle gluten sensitivity?
Wow, that's a good one. Let me think.
Dr. Bergensen.
How would you handle gluten sensitivity? You have two choices. You can remove your colon to avoid the damage, right?
That's an option.
You can do that,
Yeah.
and problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can avoid gluten. Now, obviously, you're new to my channel, or else you would have known that. But the point is, we don't recommend grains for that reason because it's a big problem. In fact, even gluten-free is an issue because you're still eating the grains. So avoid the grains, and you will be happy.
Donna says, don't eat it.
Donna, that's some good advice.
You're hired.
Okay, so we're going to go to Christy from Utah. Are you there, Christy? Hi. What's your question?
Hello, Dr.
Hi.
Berg and Karen. So I am the ferritin questioner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
I have been intermittent fasting since 2017, and I discovered you, and I've been keto for 2 years in January. But my ferritin keeps on going up. Today I'm going to break a 48-hour fast easily. I don't push myself. I can do it, but I've been struggling with the last 10 pounds. I've been fat adapted for about a year and a half. And I was wondering, I pass out if I give blood. So I'm just wondering what you can do on ferritin. I was thinking about going short-term carnivore to drop the last 10 pounds. But I've kind of had a chronic stomach issue that I can't get rid of. I've had diarrhea for about 2 years, on and off.
Wow. Well, first,
I'm very sporadic.
wow, yeah, because you got several issues you're dealing with, because when you have diarrhea, you lose minerals, but maybe not the ones that you want to lose. So what I would do is I would start taking the minerals that you need, okay, excluding iron, and drink some distilled water on the off times. So that way it'll actually pull out the iron, and maybe a EDTA, which is a chelator, but put the minerals that you want back in, all the other ones, but not iron. That's what I would do. I see what you're up against too. This stomach problem is an issue, and the other problem is if you go carnivore, you're going to be consuming animal meat, which is high in iron. So that's kind of a catch-22. The diarrhea is, there's obviously some type of incomplete digestion, and I'm assuming maybe you already started to take betaine hydrochloride for your stomach, but that usually will help your stomach more than anything. There's some other things you can do as well, like sauerkraut is really good for the stomach. Licorice root is good for gastritis. So go ahead and try those things, and then let us know how you do. All right, Karen.
I like this one.
Yeah.
Dr. Berg, DC.
Yes.
Hey, Dr. Berg, do you think swimming in the sea can actually balance out minerals? Do a video on that. I think that we should do a video of you swimming in the sea.
I think we should do a video of me swimming in the Potomac Sea. It's right down the street.
That'll be your last video.
Yeah. But I think if you swim in the Dead Sea, if you swim in the Dead Sea, you're going to get a lot of good minerals, and I think that would be very therapeutic. But other than that, I mean, there's therapeutic benefits of these minerals, but I don't know if that's going to be the thing that's going to help you as much as consuming some of these minerals versus bathing in the sea. But you know what? Try it out and let us know.
I think we should try it.
I don't have a lot of experience in bathing in the sea. So, so I need to go to, I think it's pronounced
Ranita,
yes. You've touched base with us before. You're from Michigan. Go ahead.
Yes, actually, this is my first time calling.
Ah, well, you have a sister, Ranita, in Michigan.
So my question, hello everyone.
Hi.
My question, Dr. Berg, is I am a school bus driver, and so I'm on the go, and I've been doing vegetarian eating most of the year, with the exception of Thanksgiving, which I gained about 6 pounds during Thanksgiving, so that was horrible, but the food was good. So on a normal wave, I eat more like vegan keto.
Yeah.
And I just started intermittent fasting thanks to one of your videos. I was like, I'm going to go for this.
Yeah.
So I eat 1 meal a day, and I do herbs and bitters. I do moringa bitters and the black seed oil bitters. My question is, what are your thoughts on? I like the idea of my meal in a bottle. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were on raw juices and or like lentil soup or black bean soup, chickpea soup, any of those variations for keto.
Yeah, this is what I want you to do. I want you to really look up the carbs on those soups, the bean soups, And I would definitely avoid any juice for sure. It's just not going to help you. But definitely the beans, I would look up the carbs because you might be able to get away with a certain amount, but especially when you start cooking them down more and more, you release more carbohydrates, especially more sugars out of those beans, and that could be a problem. One thing you could do is do some maybe more sprouts, more seeds, more nuts. Walnuts are really good. Maybe get a high quality, the lentine like I've talked about, which is a water lentil, but it's not really a lentil, and it's in my veggie solution. It's a plant, very high in protein, but it's nearly raw. So you have the phytonutrients, very low carb, higher protein. So that might be an idea, but you got to be careful of with the beans, and that's just my opinion. But thanks for your call. All right, Karen, do you have a
Okay.
question for me?
Well, first we should say hi to Joan from the Philippines,
Hey, Joan.
because she says hi.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Now, there are a few bean questions. Are there any beans that are okay on keto?
Yeah,
Tell me.
green beans.
That's not
Green
the kind of
beans.
bean we're talking about.
Out of all the beans, what is that bean?
Kidney?
Actually, garbanzo beans
Garbanzo.
are a little bit better, and if you have some hummus with the oil and the garlic, I think that would actually be better than the actual bean itself, because you're going to buffer some of that insulin response. So I think that's why hummus is good with, especially with celery, and even carrots are fine. Yeah. But someone asked about tomatoes. I want to mention that.
Okay.
Tomatoes, for the most part, are fine. They're slightly higher in sugar, especially if you go to Italy. But
Why
but
are they higher in sugar in Italy?
You ever have a tomato in America? There's
Well, there's nothing in it.
There's not sweet at all. They're just kind of like
Wax.
waxy nothingness. But the point is that if you're on a very strict version of keto, as in the keto on steroids version, which is extreme, you want to bring your carbs way down there. Tomatoes are a little bit higher on the list, so probably put that to the side right now. And then stick with something like celery or leafy greens or even kale, and I think you'll do better. Okay, Karen?
Yeah, okay.
All right, good. So, hey, Joe, you're in Florida, and you had a question about the thyroid. What was your question?
My name is actually Jill, Jill, but due to my thyroid, I sound like a man half the time. So people think I say Joe.
Okay.
But
Oh, no, we
I'm
blame
on 200
Terry and Steve. Totally.
Yeah.
It's not
Very
you.
good.
I don't think it's their fault, though, 'cause
It
it's
is, I'm
everybody I
sure.
talk to. Okay, I'm on 200 mcgs of Synthroid. I no longer have a working thyroid.
Okay.
They told me I would never lose weight. They told me if I wanted to lose weight, I'd have to have gastric bypass. They wrote out referrals for it. I didn't do it. Me and my husband decided to listen to more of your videos, and we started last April. He's lost over 100 pounds. I've lost 68 pounds.
Oh,
Fantastic. Well done. Well done.
That's
Good job.
awesome.
It is awesome. I've never felt better in my life. I was so miserable for the last 7 to 10 years. The only issue I have now is I still have problems sleeping. And I did try your sleep aid.
Okay.
And I still cannot get
Still
it
not
right.
perfect. So I have a couple things you can do. Go ahead.
I sleep maybe 3 to 4 hours a night.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay. So a couple things that it could be that your cortisol is just a little too high, and I hope you watched my video on the stress webinar where I actually walk you through a do-it-yourself series of techniques that will extract stress from your body, and it works great for sleep. I apply it all the time because I used to have a problem with cortisol. There's a couple things you can do to lower cortisol. One would be the vitamin D, taking more vitamin D. Another one, zinc, will help with that as well. It can help lower cortisol. And the third thing is celery in the evening. Now, the thing about celery, it has a natural chemical that lowers cortisol, but you have to have it in larger amounts. So I would do about 6 to 7 actual stalks of celery, probably maybe right around dinner. As your salad, you could even do that. And that should normally help you sleep. Those are some things that I would do if I were you. Thanks, Jill. Karen.
Hey.
Have any good questions?
Yeah. Can someone replace sunflower seeds for nutritional yeast and get the same amount of B1?
No, but sunflower seeds do have B1. So that's a good thing, but it's not the same amount as nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast just has a lot more. Yeah.
Okay, good. So here's another one. I don't know what this is right here. Is that a medical disease?
Okay. Do you want to just tell me, ask me a question?
I'm going to ask another question here. Okay. Dr. Berg, I've been doing keto on steroids and IF, checked my blood for the second time, and I saw hyperthyroidism. I'm experiencing dizziness, muscle weakness, losing my hair. Please advise.
Yeah, but are you doing anything? I mean, is that all you're having?
Says
just those
doing
symptoms?
keto on steroids and IF.
Yeah, this is the key thing with this. The hair loss is a big indicator of nutritional deficiencies. Going into keto, I mean, because think about it, that program is a severe program. It's major, and you have to have the nutrients to make it all work out. The fact that you have the side effects tells me that you have transitional deficiencies, like I bet you your minerals and your B vitamins are off, and trace minerals are off, so you need to beef those up for sure, but not go up with the carb. Now, with the thyroid, your T3 will go down. That's the active form of thyroid hormone. But the hormone from the pituitary that controls the thyroid is going to be normal. So it's not a thyroid problem. It's just your body's adjusting to not needing that much thyroid hormone anymore because it's more efficient. When you run your body on ketones, you're getting more oxygen. It's a better source of fuel, more efficient, and you just don't need the amount of thyroid. So I did a video on this, and it's nothing to worry about. You just need to have more nutrients because you're probably deficient in other things, and then look at the quality of foods that you're eating. Because, I mean, keto and steroids, I recommend hardcore intermittent fasting, and you're cutting out a whole bunch of things, so you're also you got to be careful about the nutrient deficiencies. Okay? All right, I think we need to go to James in Maryland. You had a question, James. Are you there?
Hi, yes. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, all right, great. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I normally do one meal a day with salt and pepper, some 48-hour fasts, and I've never had a problem. I love it. Makes me feel great. Lift weights during the week. Took Thanksgiving off, ate like a pig, and decided I was going to try my first 72-hour fast. And everything was great. I felt perfect. And at 72 hours, I was like, you know what? I'm going to push it to 96 hours.
Wow.
And so I went to bed, and I woke up feeling lethargic, weak, and I was just like, okay, this is my body telling me this is too much right now. So I had a cup of bone broth, and about half an hour later, I had some kimchi. And then about an hour and a half later, I was like, you know, I wasn't really hungry, but I was looking forward to eating. I love to eat. So I scrambled up some eggs, cut up a tomato, and then I started to get sick, diarrhea really bad, and just feeling sick. And that continued. And there's so much information on Reddit and so much information about how to break an extended fast. I was wondering if you could give some guidance on how to break an extended fast as quickly as possible so I can get back to eating normal without having to call in sick at work, because I couldn't work.
Yeah. Well, the way I would break it is I would look at the key nutrients that you need, and then choose the foods to give you those nutrients. Like, you got to be careful eating a little too much food or one type of food when you break a fast. So, for example, like protein, you need amino acids. So I think maybe just like a half of an egg, wait for a period of time, maybe a little bit of soup with some extra sea salt would be good, and then maybe just a little fermented vegetables, and really go slow because your system has to adjust, and you don't want to spike up too many nutrients too fast just because the bodies have adapted to not eating. So there's a way to do it. I did an entire video on this, but I think you'll be safe on kind of like a saltier soup broth for a bit. And then also I would do a little bit of fermented vegetables, and then maybe wait an hour and then start to introduce a little bit more and just gradually kind of come back there. But you're right. It's like when you have diarrhea, your body's like, okay, get rid of this because it's not working. It's too much. But now you just lost your more electrolytes. So the other thing that I would do is I would make sure you're doing electrolytes and B vitamins during this fast. I wouldn't just do a water fast just because so many people are deficient. And the other mistake that people make when they do extending fasts is they do like a high carbo. They're not even doing keto. They're doing like high carb. And that can really create a big problem with potassium because you need potassium to metabolize that carb. And you create a big deficiency right off the bat. And the heart goes up, blood pressure goes up, the whole thing. Thanks, James. All right, Karen. What?
I love these questions today.
What do we got?
Are there benefits to donating blood other than helping someone or saving a life?
That's a good question. I think you get the cookie in the glass of orange juice. Yeah.
Sometimes you get a donut.
The benefit is you get rid of excessive iron, and if you feel good when you donate, boy, you better check your iron levels because it's probably you have too much iron, and that's very toxic. It can create cirrhosis of the liver and cancer and all sorts of issues.
Now, while we're on that subject, after we talked about iron, someone mentioned only cooking in a cast iron pan.
I don't recommend it, simply because it's not the type of iron that your body can absorb easily. It's like eating a rock. It takes a lot of different mechanical things for your body to break it down. In nature, the bacteria in the soil that's connected to the roots will break down rocks and help you absorb the minerals in a different form. They're plant-based minerals, but our bodies are not designed to eat rocks like calcium carbonate. They just don't digest that well. So the iron skillet is not the best source of iron. Now also about copper toxicity, I would not get the copper pans as well because that can create a copper toxicity, which I would say a lot of people are toxic with copper and they don't even know it. I may have released that video. If I didn't, I will be releasing it shortly. But when you're deficient in zinc, copper goes up. So in copper, you can be depressed, you can be irritable, and it's coming from too much copper.
Good to know.
Yeah. All right, Karen.
Yep.
Let's go to Madison from New Mexico. Are you there?
Yeah, it's probably Mason.
Mason.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We're like the video version of Starbucks. You can give us your name, but you never really know what we're going to call you.
Very good. Well, Dr. Berg, appreciate taking the call. I'm 40 years old. I have a family history of heart disease and diabetes. Mm-hmm. I myself has had basal cell carcinoma, a nodular removed. I have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. And I've got a couple things that are going on lately that made me take a calcium score, get my calcium score, which, by the way, was a 0.
Oh, good.
I've had a pain on my left side when I eat, right about where the heart is, and then I've gained about 8 inches in my belly in the past 4 months without any weight gain.
Okay.
And I've had extreme low energy. I wouldn't even call it brain fog, more like a decreased mental acuity.
Mm-hmm.
The things I do right now is I started intermittent fasting about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Having found you and doing a lot of research, I'm getting into the keto, which has been a little bit slower for me. Mm-hmm. For the past 6 years, I've been taking vitamin D, 10,000 units a day. Mm-hmm. I have normal glucose. I test it every day because I thought maybe that was one of the issues. I recently went and got a blood panel done this week, and I'm still waiting for those to come back. But I was just wondering if you had any thoughts.
Yeah, okay. So the test that you really need to do is called HOMA-IR, because based on what you said, I think it's more of an insulin resistance, which is not going to show up for a long time as far as your glucose, but your insulin is probably high, and you probably have a fatty liver. I'm just guessing. I don't know for a fact, but that can then interfere with the little tubing. There are ducts that go from the liver down into the small intestine, and also the pancreas goes in there. So if that little duct gets a little blocked up a bit, that can cause pain on the left side of the heart, and that could mimic a clogged artery. But the fact that you're just getting into it is good. I think I would get into it more, because I think that's going to solve a lot of your problems, because you're talking about liver issues and fatty liver and weight gain and all these other things that you mentioned. So jump in, go with the low carb. K2, I think you need vitamin K2 because you've been taking vitamin D3 for a while. But I would support your gallbladder and get that going, and the diet's going to help, and then that should probably get rid of the pain. So do those things, and then let me know how you do. All right, Karen. What, you laughing at me again? Okay, go ahead. What's the question?
I don't know. I just had the giggles today, I think.
Okay, good.
I thought you said that you had if you had ducts that go down into the liver. I wasn't like fully paying attention because I was reading, and then I was hearing you talk about
the definition of the duct that I'm talking about is
in
a
your
tube.
liver.
A tubing.
Duct.
Tubes, like the common bile duct. The common bile duct.
I got that, but it was just funny
sounded
because
funny.
all of a sudden I noticed you were talking about ducts moving down into your liver.
Karen,
I was like, well,
listen,
that would be a problem for
listen,
anybody.
You have to be a little more serious, because these ducts feed into the sphincter body, into the small intestine.
I don't like when ducts enter my body or my. Okay. What is. Terry, quit it.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rick Kelly is in Liverpool, England.
Yeah.
And wants you to say hi.
Hi.
That was really exciting, right? Please say hi to me, for goodness sakes. Okay, good. Enough with the duck in there. Enough with the duck. Okay. Can someone take your wheatgrass and electrolytes while they're fasting?
I recommend it because the amount of carbs are so small, it's like insignificant from the wheatgrass, because it's just like, it's less than, like it's like 0.1 of a gram. It's just so small. But then you're getting all the chlorophyll, you're getting the nutrients, you're getting the phytonutrients, and plus you're getting the minerals. So I do it in the morning. I slug it down, and it seems to really help. Also the cool thing about the wheatgrass juice powder, it's alkaline, and so you're fasting, you're having all these ketones which are acidic, and it seems to counter that. So it's really good for people that have gout and higher levels of uric acid that can happen with fasting.
Okay, good.
Good. So let's go to Bob from Baton Rouge. Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
What was your name?
Hi, it's actually Vicky.
Vicky? Okay,
Vicky.
I was close, but go ahead, Vicky. I'm sorry.
Terry's fired.
That's okay. That's my dad's name, so whatever.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you, Dr. Berg and Karen. Thank you for all you do to improve the world's health. I am 48 years old, and I have been PCOS pretty much all my life, and I also have Hashimoto's. I've been keto for 18 months, and it's been a lifesaver. I've been struggling with my weight since I had children at 20. Didn't understand why. Now I understand due to the insulin resistance. Anyway, lately I have been experiencing off and on pain in my upper left side, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I've been taking a tablespoon of MTC oil in the morning with my multivitamin, like it's a liquid vitamin. I'm not sure if I'm stirring something up, but I thought MTCs were, absorbed differently and went straight to the liver, but I don't know if I'm stirring something up, or what do you think this issue? It's off and on. It's not, and I've had scans. I've had things done, and they don't see anything when they've looked.
I think the simple thing is to not do the MCT oil because some people, it's just too much of a concentrated fat in general, and it doesn't go through the normal absorption that other fats do. So it turns into ketones in your liver, and you can use it as energy. But that being said, it is kind of an unnatural thing. I do it. It doesn't seem to create a problem, but you're taking this pure oil, which is usually like a C8 or C10, and it's basically, it can create some issues with just digesting it in general, even though it's better than other oils, and that could actually influence the pancreas, which is on the left side, which can refer pain to your left upper side. That's probably what's happening. So I would just cut it out, and then it's usually these things that you have, these weird pains or symptoms, are usually simple. They're not complex, and you have to look at what is the elephant in the room, and that would be it. I would just avoid it, and I know this happens a lot of times with people that are doing like a lot of the keto desserts and things. They just I think you can overdo it, and some people are sensitive to it, and they're having all sorts of bloating and stuff like that. It's real simple. Just avoid that right now. Just eat real food, and I think you're going to be fine. Okay? Thanks for your question.
I think it's also important to say to all you guys that both on Facebook and in YouTube, when you have other people, we don't have moderators on here, right?
No.
So people who are answering your health questions, you're on your own with that advice. We don't have
the blind leading the blind.
We don't have. It's not to say that some of it isn't good advice. I just wanted you to know that we don't have moderators on YouTube or Facebook during our show. It's only Dr. Berg. So if you're getting other advice, that's great, and that's something that you can look into as well. But it's not us. Just wanted you to know that.
That's right. And on that note, thanks for all your questions. I hope we gave you some answers, and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned for some real interesting videos, especially the one on using onions on your scalp.
Which people are doing.
Oh, while they're watching?